Imagine meeting the most handsome man in town. His smile so perfect, his words so sweet. You'd think he was sent from heaven. But what if I told you that one night with him could turn your whole life into a nightmare? This is not just a story, it's a warning. Stay with me to the end, because what happened to Rose will shock you, and it might just save your life. On a calm, groovy night, just after a friend's birthday party in a high-end, bustling city in Lagos, a young, pretty lady called Rose met a very handsome man. He smiled like he knew a secret. Rose was surprised. He spoke to her. She thought, maybe this is my lucky day. They talked for a long time. The man was kind and smooth with his words. He asked her to come to his house. "Come to my house, young lady. You are pretty, and I like you. I will offer you a good amount of money. Money isn't really the problem, you know." Rose felt excited and a little nervous, but she did not want to miss the chance. She went with him. His house was big, luxurious, and too quiet. But strangely, there's no picture on the wall, just plain white closured house. Rose noticed it, but she didn't think too deeply about it. It's a modern house anyway, she thought. That night was quiet. The house smelled faintly of something bad, like old garbage. Rose wrinkled her nose and asked, "Do you smell that?" The man only shook his head and said nothing. They slept together that night, made love, and had sex. When the man slept, Rose woke before dawn. She reached out to wake him. Her hand touched his skin, and it was icy cold. Rose froze. Her heart beat very fast. She held his nose and mouth with 2 fingers to see if he was breathing. There was no breath. For a moment, she prayed quietly. Then she lay down and tried to sleep. By morning, the man was awake. He gave Rose a large amount of money and dropped her off at her house. He would not look her in the eye. When Rose tried to call him later, his phone was blocked. She thought, at least I have the money. Maybe this is over. That night, Rose slept in the same room with her sister. At dawn, Rose woke again. This time, the room smelled very strong, the smell of blood. Rose whispered, "Do you smell that?" Her sister mumbled, "No, I don't smell anything," and rolled over. Rose climbed out of bed. As she walked to the window, someone shouted outside. Her sister jumped up and opened the door. The wind pushed the curtains. The house felt cold and empty. When Rose looked at her hands, they were stained dark. "Is this blood?" she asked. She thought, maybe it is my period, but she knew her period had been days before. This was wrong. She washed and scrubbed until her skin went pink, but the smell did not go away. Other people began to notice it too. Her mother sniffed the air and said, "This is not good. Let's go to the hospital." The hospital did tests. The machines beeped and the doctors frowned. No one could say why Rose smelled like blood. No one could say why her body would not keep food. When she tried to eat, the food came back up. Rose grew thinner and thinner. Weeks went by. The blood smell stayed. They took Rose to churches. They visited men in white robes and places with songs. The pastors looked worried. Some said, "We cannot help with this." Her mother cried and asked every helper they could find. Finally, her mother remembered an old healer in their village. He was a man who knew strange things. They took Rose to him. The old healer listened without speaking. Then he reached for his beads and looked straight at Rose. "You are walking dead," he said in a low voice. "You met someone who was not fully a person. He left things inside you, tiny animals. They feed on your blood. They do not like food. They only take blood. That is why you cannot eat. That is why you melt away." Rose's mother covered her mouth. Rose felt cold all over. The healer said, "No doctor in the city can see these things. No one can cut them out. You must wait. The body will become thin. The one who did this will grow strong." Rose remembered the man's icy skin. She remembered the rotten smell in his house. Tears slid down her cheek. She said, "But we used protection. We protected ourselves." The healer shook his head. "Protection against sickness
does not protect against spirits. Days turned into weeks. Rose did not feel pain. She only felt tired and empty. Sometimes she heard tiny scratching sounds inside, like ants walking under cloth. People crossed to the other side of the road when she passed. Some whispered that she was cursed. One night, when the moon was thin, Rose thought about the handsome man. She wanted to find him. Her mother took her to the place where he said he lived. The neighbors said, "Who? No one like that lives here." The house had always been empty, they said. It was as if the man had never existed. Rose lay in bed and breathed slowly. She tried to think of a plan. She tried to swallow a little water. It came back. Her clothes felt loose on her. She felt like she was slipping like a leaf from a tree. People came with words. Be careful who you trust. Do not go with someone you just met. The words became a warning in the town. Mothers hugged their daughters tighter. Girls looked at their phones and thought twice before meeting strangers. Rose's story spread. Some said she was lost to the world. Some said she might still be fighting the small animals inside her. Nobody knew for sure. The healer only said, "Wait." The pastors said, "Pray." The doctors said, "We are sorry." And Rose waited, quiet and pale, smelling of blood that no water could wash away. Before she fell asleep, Rose looked out at the empty street. The moon made a thin line of light on the ground. She thought of the man's smile and the cold in his skin. She whispered a small prayer. "Please," she said, "let this end." The town learned something from her story. Young girls stopped going alone with men they just met. They learned to tell mothers, uncles, or a trusted elder. They learned to be careful with their hearts and their bodies. And when someone new came to town with a soft voice and a secret smile, people would ask questions. They learned that sometimes danger hides where you least expect it. Rose's tale became a quiet, sharp warning. Always be careful and never let a stranger into your life without someone to watch. Because there are things in this world that look like people but are not. And the world can be stranger and darker than we think. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so for more interesting stories like this. We hope you have learned something from this story. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you learned.